everyone. Welcome back to Breakthrough, a podcast where we, as two average teenage high schoolers, share our own opinions and experiences on various different topics. So today's episode is called Do We See Eye to Eye, where we'll be basically giving you a chance to get to know us better.
Let's start very simple. Spicy, sweet, or sour food?
Well, I mean, I'm brown. So like the only correct answer for me is spicy, I guess. Because like sour food, it's like I can have it in candies or whatever, but it's disgusting in my opinion.
Clearly, you have not had sour soup. There's like this soup in my culture. It's basically like you take it's like sour cabbage. I don't know what it's called in English, but like you take this cabbage and like you put this into this. I don't even know if it's cabbage, but it's like some leaf. You put it in soup, and it actually tastes really good.
Okay, I guess it'll be on my bucket list. I would definitely be surprised. But yeah, what about you?
I definitely have a sweet tooth. Like I love my sweets. Like I hate candy except for gummy bears or like gummies.
What is wrong with you? Did you just say that?
Okay, I like chocolate. Like I feel like candy is just like
no. Chocolate is gross.
See, here we go again. You literally hate chocolate. I love chocolate. I hate candy. You freaking hate candy too.
I love candy. What is wrong with you?
No, you told me you didn't like lollipops.
Okay, well, lollipops are just gross. You just suck on. Okay, that's what she said. But you just what? I'm sorry. I have to. See, this is the type of person I am. I'm so mature. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, disclaimer, I love candy. Amy is spreading lies about me right now. So
you like 2 years ago, I swear, in grade 9, you said you hated candy.
In grade 9, I was also a bitch with like blonde, like half blonde hair who was like telling everyone to follow me on Instagram when I had like 4 followers.
I'm cutting your bangs at 3 a.m.
Shut up. That was just a mental breakdown moment. It was not my best. But in my opinion, it was very cute, my hair. So
yes, it was a look.
Thank you.
All right. So now that we've established our arguments on chocolate and candy, I script our stuff. Basically, just to let you guys know, I script our stuff. So I'm like the most unentertaining person ever. So
I mean,
this might get a little dry, but I literally Googled like get to know you questions online, and this one came up. Literally, it says Android or Apple. I don't get this argument at all.
Okay, well, it's because you're not on Stan Twitter. Okay, I'm just gonna expose myself. I'm on Twitter. It's toxic. I hate it there, but I'm still on it because there's something wrong with me. This argument pops up in like every little thing ever. Because at the bottom, like when you tweet, it has like Twitter for like Android or like Twitter for Apple or like Twitter for Mac or Twitter for like Twitter web app or whatever.
Isn't Mac an Apple product?
I don't know. Anyways, I'm team Apple, obviously, because I just think it's way, way better. But people are always like, oh no, Android's so much more like advanced and Apple's like nothing.
No, what are you? I don't know what Stan Twitter is doing, but literally everyone hates Android. I don't get it. Like when you say like, oh, you're an Android user, that says a lot about you. I'm like, what does that say about me?
Yeah, I mean, I get that thing. It's just fun to like argue over, oh, you have Apple? Wow, you must be like rich or something, when like I'm the brokest bitch in the land.
Yeah, like I have been an Android user for like all my life because my father hates Apple. I don't know why he thinks he's like, I don't know. He refuses to buy Apple, and he doesn't like the only Apple thing I've ever owned, I think, are like the wire earbuds, and that's because my aunt gave them to me.
I think like there's a big variety of Android products, right? Like just phones that run on Android, whether it be I don't know what the frick, like Motorola or like things like
Motorola,
that.
girl.
I don't
nobody knows. Okay. There's a lot of different like Samsung, obviously. Mm-hmm. But like other than that, I don't think anybody knows any other Android like run.
Phone. My father just gets like the cheapest phones, and whenever he gets the cheapest phones, they're always like Android. So
yeah, like there's so many, like I know like in like China specifically, it's either Apple or like the rest of their like Android phone line. Like there's so many of them. I could not name them all.
Oh yeah, that's true. I think it's like Apple, there's only like a set. Like Apple's the only one that like creates Apple products, obviously, right? So you just want to always get the newest one, and I think that's kind of like a phase that everyone has where it's like oh, I need this phone because it's so new and it's so up to date. I want to be known as like the coolest or whatever, which I think is stupid, but
Yeah, like I really don't understand the getting the newest iPhone every single year. Like I have used my phone for like 4.5 years now, and it's like a really old model. I have like the Samsung S7. So, and I'm
honestly,
pretty sure
no.
there's like an S20 now. So,
What the heck? Like for me, I'm going back into like elementary school now. I didn't get my own phone until I was in grade 7, and I only got it in grade 7 because I was originally supposed to get it in grade 9, but I put together like a presentation, like a Google slide presentation, and I like presented to my dad, this is why I should get a new phone, and I had like a bunch of points, and I also searched up like the cheapest iPhones or whatever. But honestly, I would have never done that if I wasn't getting bullied for having an iPod. It wasn't even an Android. It was an iPod. It was an Apple product. And they were like, oh, you have an iPod? That's so sad. I have like the iPhone 6 at the time. It was just annoying, dude. I won't say I don't keep in touch with him, but I still see him. Well, before COVID, obviously, I still saw him at school and everything like that. But he was such a bitch about this. He was just like, you still have an iPod? I was like, what? I am literally 12 years old. Who do I have to call? I have no one to call.
yeah, like I really don't understand like young children who have like iPhones and like data, a phone number. I'm like, who are you gonna call? Like, you don't
Honestly.
go anywhere. And like, yeah, maybe they have like Snapchat or Instagram or whatever. I'm like, are you like legally old enough to have Snap? Like,
That too.
isn't the legal age for Snap like 12 or 13 or something?
Yeah, yeah. And like for Twitter, it's like 14 or 13. I don't remember.
Yeah,
But
so like you
honestly,
have a phone in like grade 4. What are you gonna do with it?
I think like that's another thing. I hate social media, like getting social media at such a young age. Because I got on Twitter when I was like 11, I think, and I got Snapchat when I was like 8. And I regret it so bad because social media, I know like parents always say this, oh my God, it's so like your phone's so bad for you and things like that. And like that's not like, I mean, like I guess it's kind of true, but also the mental health thing and like social media is real because like social media really does like shape or like mold like the way that you perceive the world, right? And I think if you're experiencing all of that kind of stuff at like a young age, you're being shown things that you should not be shown sometimes, you know?
Yeah, like now that like I used to think people like were actually like what they were on Instagram, but they're not. And like Instagram is so fake. Like beauty filters are like everywhere. Photoshopping is like so easy to do now. So like it's so hard because when you see these like influencers who have like the perfect like quote unquote perfect body that society labels like skinny is pretty, right? That's what everybody says. They have like these beauty filters on, and like it just creates this like really unrealistic like beauty standard that no one can reach. Like even they themselves don't look like that. Like and you know they don't look like that, but you can't help
Exactly.
to compare yourself to them, be like, I want to look that pretty, even though you know they don't
Like
actually look like that.
I'm just gonna be honest. I am like such a catfish because whatever I post on my Instagram is not what I look like in person, like on a regular basis at all. Like right now, as we're recording this, I am sitting in like sweats, PJs, and I think I've gained about like I've gained weight since I like last posted or whatever. But like that's fine. But I feel like every single time I feel the need to like post on Instagram or whatever, it's when I look so dolled up and so pretty and I have like 10 pounds of makeup on or whatever. Like
Yes, like that is literally so true. Like I don't look like any of my like pictures. Like all of my photos on my Instagram have like beauty filters on them. They've gone under some like, lighting changes and stuff like
mhm.
that, because like I know I shouldn't like feel like I have to do it, but like I just feel like if I don't post these pictures like everybody else's, I don't know how to explain. It's just like it's a feeling I have that doesn't make me feel good, you know?
Yeah, I completely get that. Like it's just the want to look the same as everyone else, even if you know you don't. Like it's social media is like shaping your like your perspective on yourself again. They're just like, oh, you see like these like don't get me wrong. I love seeing pretty women on my timeline. Like, yes, give us everything. But like the fact that if you see that like all the time and you don't look like that yourself, like that's me. Like I don't look like any of these other like beauty vloggers or anything like that because I'm a normal teenage person, you know? I shouldn't have to be looking like a supermodel at such a young age, but because I see that on the regular basis or whatever, like inevitably you're going to want to look like that, you know? And if you're doing that if you're on that kind of social media at such a young age, your mind is going to be shaped like that since you're little, and then you're going to grow up and you're going to just like always act like someone that you're not, you know? And I think that's kind of the iffy part about social media.
Yeah, like I definitely get that. Anyways, I think we're skimming way too far from our topic.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we should save that for the episode we have for that.
Yes.
All right, next question. This was on like a lot of websites too for some reason. Do you think aliens exist?
Of course. What the fuck?
What? Really? Like
you don't believe aliens exist?
Like they could. There's obviously like a potential for it, and I guess we have evidence or proof, but like I just don't have the feeling they do.
I think our portrayal of aliens might not be correct, but the fact that there's another living organism or like another kind of species of human beings or whatever, just like crazy aliens, because our universe is massive. There's bound to be something out there.
What I mean by alien in this sense is like extraterrestrial. Like, you know, like the movies, what they look like, those like green, human-like species from outer space. Like, you know, the typical aliens portrayed in movies. Like I don't
green ones.
Yeah, like the weird like tentacles or like yeah, like those. I don't think those exist, but I could be open to the idea.
I agree with that actually. Then yeah, like I do think that that there's like a high chance of them existing. But of course, because you don't have like proof or anything like that, you know, like, it's going to be hard for people to believe.
Yeah, like I saw this video on like NBC a few days ago. It was like some like video of like some flying thing that was like going really fast, and like it was doing some like stuff that physics could not explain. Like a lot of like aerodynamic people, I don't know what they're called, but like they looked at it and they're like, I have no idea how this is like even possible. And that just kind of like told me like, okay, then what is it? I don't think like just because we can't explain something, we should just automatically jump like alien. Like, yeah, I think it's just something we haven't discovered. Like it's just because it's something we can't explain doesn't mean like we can't explain it.
Yeah, that's fair. Like I get that. I'm the type of person who's really gullible. I believe things like without actually seeing proof of it or whatever. And I think that kind of like that shows when I say that I do believe that aliens exist, because I just think that somewhere in this gigantic world or in this gigantic universe, there's a force or there's like a creature or there's something that resembles aliens, you know? But I definitely think that like all the organisms that we've seen are not like all of them. Does that make sense? Like there's definitely more like organisms out in that universe that are probably 10 times smarter than us or whatever.
All right. That's your opinion.
yeah. And that's your opinion. See, our differences, they're shining again.
All right. Okay. Next question. Are you a clean or a messy person?
I hate to say this because I shouldn't be, but I am definitely a messy person. Like, don't get me wrong. I'll still clean when I have to and everything like that. But I can go a few like days, weeks, maybe a few months without cleaning my room. And I think like naturally when I work or whatever, like if I'm in school and I'm like writing notes or whatever, like my notes are completely messy, and like the way that I like put my papers on my desk is like completely messy. Like I'm not naturally clean.
I think from the complete opposite of you, I am definitely a clean person. I can't work in a disorganized or messy like sort of environment. Like there's 2 pieces of clothing on my bed that is not folded. I can't focus. Like I have to fold it before I can move on to do. Yeah, like I cannot handle it. It can get really exhausting because if it gets messed up, like I take like so long to like reorganize it again, but like it's just how I live. So yeah, again, differences. Okay, I saw this on a lot of websites. I don't even know what it means, but like it says, is your glass half full or half empty?
Oh, okay. So like what's your perspective on things when you have like it halfway done? I think like whenever I like fill a glass like halfway, I always consider it to be half empty because I still haven't reached like the full potential, you know? Like in life or in general. If I've only done half of like the work, I don't say, oh, I've done half, I can be finished with it. Like, no, I still have half to go. I got to finish that half. That's kind of like the mentality that I have.
Okay, yeah. Like I feel like for me, it would be half full because I see it as like, you know, being full is like my full potential and I'm only like halfway there, but it doesn't mean what I'm missing is a negative. It's like I see it as, you know, potential. Like I can get it to be full, but like everything I have right now, it's already filling me up to this point.
I'm really like pessimistic, so I would never be able to think like that, but I'm glad that you do.
All right. Are you an introvert or extrovert?
Introvert next.
Yeah, like when I take any of those personality tests, I feel like I'm like balanced right in the middle, but I am more leaning to the side of extrovert.
Oh, okay. Well, I honestly did not know that about you. I thought you were an ambivert, but that's another thing.
I think it isn't, yeah, I think it is considered an ambivert, but just like a little bit onto the side of an extrovert. So I would consider myself more of an ambivert.
For me, I'm an introvert because I'm just naturally, I just tend to naturally be on my own. Like, don't get me wrong, I still need some social like interaction because I think everyone does, but I don't depend on it, and I don't like, I can keep to myself, you know?
Yeah, like I think people have like a false sort of like definition of introvert and extrovert in their head. Like I think a lot of people think that introvert equals like quiet, shy. Yeah, I don't know. I just think there's a different connotation that is false for these, but all right. The big question is ASMR creepy or relaxing?
Well, I know what you're going to say for this, so I'm just going to give my little spiel here. ASMR is so relaxing. Okay, listen, like I know it's different for each person. Like I understand that. And like I understand, oh my God, like I think it's disgusting or whatever. Like I understand from your point of view, but from my point of view, like ASMR to me is just like something where I can just like I can chill, I can vibe, like because there's so many different types, right? So for me, like I used to be a huge ASMR fanatic. Like it was the only thing that I could go to sleep at night because of. Granted, I've started like meditating now and things like that, so I've been able to fall asleep faster. But ASMR was something that I really depended on just to be relaxed in order to fall asleep. So I think ASMR is relaxing.
I mean, I don't think I found the right sort of ASMR for me. Like I've listened to a lot of them. Like I've listened to like the self-care one, which I absolutely cannot stand.
What?
Like it's like they're like, oh, like welcome to your like salon appointment or whatever. And like they like do these like brushes and like stuff on you, and it's just so weird.
Like, I think it's relaxing, but okay.
And like I think I used to like ASMR. Like when you first introduced it to me, I think like the tapping was like okay. Like I didn't find it relaxing, but it was like whatever, you know, I can deal with it. But then after a while, I just heard it again. And I was like, this is so annoying. Like I got so irritated.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own. So,
But I mean, the setups, like I like their setups. They're so pretty. Like it's
yes.
like their nails. Oh my gosh, when I see their nails, I'm like that. All right, next question. What is your favorite color and why?
What is my favorite? I think black. It's just mysterious. It's vibey. It goes with everything. It's cute. All of that.
What did your favorite color used to be?
It was purple. The color of my walls are purple, but it's so freaking annoying right now. Like, no, the army or whatever better not come for me. I like. I am a fan, but the color is just so not it for me.
I think we did like a full 180. My favorite color used to be black, but now it's purple.
Goodbye. I actually didn't know this.
It's my favorite color isn't purple because of like or whatever. Like I genuinely like my two favorite shades of purple is like a lilac sort of violet, like pastel-y purple.
That's the color of my walls right now.
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
and like
God.
I also really love like neon purple. What is your favorite animal?
I am actually terrified of animals. I know that's like such a bad thing, but I am.
As we heard earlier from your little breakdown with the fly.
Oh yeah. So before we were recording this, there was a massive fly in my room and it was so loud. So I was trying to like capture it so that I can release it into the wild because it looked like it had a broken wing. Oh my God, no, wing.
Oh my God.
And I felt like really bad. So I was like, okay, I won't kill it. Let me just like release it into the wild, as we say this in like this rural town that we're in. Anyways, but it just like, it wouldn't obey. So, and I don't have like a fly swatter or anything. So I had to like kill it. And I feel really bad about it because I killed it and like its guts just kind of like smeared on the wall. And mind you, this entire time, Amy thinks that like we're recording our podcast like soon. And she's getting like, I can tell she's getting impatient, but that's why I was trying to hurry the fuck up.
No, but you were like screaming.
Yeah, it was a nightmare.
Thought it was like trying to bite you or something.
And the thing is, like, I like in my town, like we all like the houses all live are like really close to one another. So I was like banging on this window, and my neighbors who are like playing volleyball or something in the backyard are like staring at me like I'm going insane because I don't think they can see the fly, but they see me having a breakdown trying to kill the fly, and it's a whole thing.
I really wish I recorded that. That was like
no
a highlight of our friendship.
That would have been like the end of me. But yeah, what about you?
You never said your favorite animal.
Ugh, I don't have. Maybe like.
Didn't you say you like butterflies?
I mean, but that's like an insect.
Like not like it doesn't have to be mammal, an animal.
Oh, okay, then I'll say butterflies. Yeah, I like butterflies.
Like as a pet, I would want a ferret, a cat, or a tiger if I could.
Yeah, you have a weird obsession with ferrets.
Yeah, like I don't know. Ever since I saw this like TikTok video, and I was like, oh my god, these are so freaking cute.
They look like rats.
No, but they're like 10 times. Rats are cute too.
What? Oh, sorry, that was so loud. Okay, we're gonna steer away from this. That's gonna be a topic for a next episode. But
no, I'm telling you, rats are cute. Whenever my dad kills a damn rat and he brings it out, I feel so freaking bad for it. Like I would take these in and like have them as a pet if I could.
Rabies.
Oh my god. Okay, you know what? Moving on.
Oh my god.
Okay, what is your biggest fear other than flies and gutting flies?
Failure, I guess.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just like I would be terrified. Like it's not like me being terrified. Like, oh my god, I get an F, I'm going to die. Like not that, but just like failure in life. Like I can say this, I'm narcissistic. I'm working so hard right now, and I think I'm like, I really deserve breaks sometimes, but I don't give myself them because I'm scared, like, oh, if I give myself these breaks, I'm not like working to the hardest. And if I don't like work to my fullest, then I'll end up failing. And then like, and I'm also a huge overthinker. So I think like if I failed in life or something, I'm going to like nitpick at like the different parts of my life where I was just like, oh, I didn't do this right. That's why I'm like such a failure right now. Like, oh, I didn't get like an 89 on that assignment. I got like an 87. That's why I'm not at like McMaster University, something like that, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think like that's like my biggest fear.
Like your biggest, like, could it be explained as like, you know, if you're scared that if you didn't work hard enough and in the future, when you don't get to achieve the result you want, you'll kind of like look back and regret like, oh, why didn't I work harder? Yeah,
I think like that's absolutely right. Like I think my fear is just regretting something and then failing because of it. But what about you?
I think we can finally sort of agree on something. I feel like my fear is also very similar to failure, but I think it's more on a side of like disappointment. Like I don't want to disappoint my friends, my family, or just like people I know. And like I think another thing, a fear I have is like not being able to fulfill like the standards I have set for myself, you know?
Yeah.
Like I think I have set standards for myself that are almost like unachievable, and I don't think that's a good thing. I'm really trying to work on that, but like I get extremely discouraged when I don't get it. Like grades for me play a big role. Like I think growing up in an East Asian family with a lot of pressure to get like really high grades. Like my parents like expect hundreds out of me every time, and whenever I don't get that, I feel like I'm just like I'm scared to tell them. Like like we're both in the same math class, right? And like recently I didn't get like hundreds, and I was scared to tell them because I knew they would be like, oh, well, you're not working hard enough. Oh, this is what you get for like quitting tutoring and stuff. And I've done this tutoring math. Like she is great. I love her. Like this tutor I've been with since I was like 4 years old or 6 years old, and like she's family friend. She's awesome. But like I just don't think that was how I was able to learn. Like I told my parents, I was like, I can't learn like this. It's too fast paced. It's too like incomprehensible for me. And I told them I want to quit. Like it's just a waste of my time, right? And they're like, they finally let me quit. And when I didn't get that like good score they wanted, they were like, oh, you shouldn't have quit. We're gonna put you back in there. So
yeah, I think like first of all, you should never I hope that you like one day are able to work for yourself and not for your parents. Cause I think like I'm in like that same boat where well, I used to be anyway, where I was like, oh, like I have to succeed because I don't want to be like a disappointment to my parents. But at the end of the day, it's your life. And I really hope that you're like one day, maybe when we like go to university or something, you'll be able to like kind of distance your grades from your parents and you're able to like not like work for yourself as in like do it for yourself and don't rely on your parents, but work for yourself as in like have that motivation to do better for yourself and not for your parents, you know? And I think like I was in that same boat once where I was really afraid to show my parents like marks that I would get that didn't meet up to their expectations or whatever. But I think like my father anyway kind of realized that and he kind of like distanced himself from like constantly asking me, oh, how did you do on your exam? Oh, how did you do on your test and things like that? Because that pressure kind of like causes fear, I think. Like, would you
Yeah.
agree?
Like I definitely would agree for that because I feel like I love my parents. Don't get me wrong. Like my parents are awesome. Um, but like I feel like because of these like many years, like this, like grades have been a big thing for me ever since grade one. Like even in freaking grade one, nothing matters, right? And I would bring home sometimes B pluses and like gym or something. Like I'm literally a 60-year-old little girl who has like no stamina whatsoever. And they're like, oh, you need to like work on gym. And I'm like, I'm in grade one. Like, chill out.
Yeah,
Right. And then like
exactly.
ever since grade one, for like 11 years basically, it has all been about grades. It's just like now I don't think they're as strict with me. Like, of course they want the best for me, but I think now they're less like, oh, you didn't get 100, like that's like I need to sign you up for more tutoring or whatever. Now it's just like, oh, like you know what to do to work harder or like get better, right? Like you know what you need to improve on. And like at this point, there's nothing I could do. Like I
Mm-hmm.
like with myself, I'm content with how I am doing with school. Like I am content with my grade and I don't see a possibility of how I could bring up my grade any higher. Like I feel like this is already something I should be like proud of achieving. And like I don't see a point in like striving so hard to like raise it by that like 2%. Like I don't think it matters that much to me. But like because of the effects of my parents throughout my entire childhood, I think slowly their thinking became my thinking. Like
Mm-hmm.
even if they don't ask for 100% from me, I still want it for myself. So I feel like that sort of grew into something like an unhealthy sort of thinking on my part. So
Yeah, I hope one day like you are able to actually be proud of that. Like even if it's not from the 2% that your parents want, I hope because no matter what you do, no matter what grade you have, as long I think that as long as you tried like as your hardest or like tried as much as you could during that time, no matter what you're going through, you should be proud of yourself for no matter what you do. When you don't attain that like unachievable standards because like of what your parents or what like you've inherently like set your goals for, it kind of like it brings down your self-esteem and it brings down like everything and then you just end up fearing like the worst, you know?
yeah, like I feel like I used to be like I feel like in my past I've always grown up in like a very healthy sort of family setting. Like I feel like I didn't really have any mental health issues in my past, but I feel like because of this sort of thinking that has like plagued my mind, like I feel like it's developed some mental health issues that I've never experienced before. Like I'm not like diagnosed in any way. Like my parents would never let me see a psychiatrist because they side note, they're Christians. They think psychiatrists are like the work of the devil or whatever.
Oh my god.
Like they'll be like, don't go to a psychiatrist. They'll put you on meds and like you'll go crazy. And I'm like,
What the heck?
that's movies, mom. You got to stop watching the movies.
Oh my god.
So I'm not diagnosed in anything, but I do think like I have like anxiety of some sort. Like there like are some physical signs I've seen recently that don't really add up. Like I've never seen it before. Like whenever like I need to do a presentation, even online, like my heart rate accelerates, my hands sweat, like my hands like shake, and like it's my mind is always like fearing for the worst. I'm like, oh, what if I didn't prepare this? Oh, what if this goes wrong? What if this happens? Like before, I used to just be like a little bit of like clammy hands, but like now, like I have like weird breathing patterns. Like my hands are shaking, my heart is like going crazy. So yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I think that there's 2 years until we can finally become adults and like kind of distance ourselves from our parents. And I hope that like after those 2 years, you are able to like find some answers for yourself because I think like those types of fears sometimes can develop into, like, I'm not a freaking psychiatrist, I don't know what the fuck I'm saying, but I think those fears sometimes develop into terrible, like, like the just terrible ways of thinking, and then like you end up falling into like a spiral or whatever. And I hope that you are able to like reach out of that spiral, and you are able to like find answers for yourself, and like not cure yourself, but like be able to like adapt to what you have had to deal with your entire life.
Yeah, like I feel like once I get a hold of my own life and I get to control my own life, I feel like that's when I can really just distance myself away from that way of thinking.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, okay, next question. We're like
Moving on.
way too much time.
Oh my God.
All right, what are your hobbies and interests?
So I think for me, I'm actually a pretty boring person, but all of my hobbies and interests kind of stem, like, I think I've said this multiple times, but like on Twitter, like I have a K-drama account because I'm really into K-dramas. I have like a cartoon account because I really am into Miraculous Ladybug and Avatar, although both of those accounts I kind of just like left in the ditch. I'm not really on them anymore, but nonetheless, I'm still really interested in them. And at the moment, I'm also really into K-pop, although I've been trying to escape it for like months now. Just because like it's so toxic, the industry, and like I'm too addicted to it. And I think as I'm getting older, I should probably, focus more on myself rather than these random Korean artists who don't even know that I exist.
Yeah, like I definitely think if not even just like K-pop, just music in general or anything really, there should be a good balance between like how much you focus your time on, these artists you like, and the time you should be focusing on yourself. It's good to have, idols you look up to or people you look up to. But if it becomes like an idolization in a way, it probably is not very good for you. Like for example, I also really like K-pop, but I think it's not a very big significant piece in my life. Like, yeah, I like looking at their music videos. They're really funny, I guess. And I just like them. But the issue with K-pop for me is definitely everything that goes on behind the scenes. Like on the outside, like I think a lot of people think K-pop is like very like, everyone's happy. It's like a fairy tale basically. These people on stage are so happy. They love their life. They're making money. They're famous. Like everything must work out for them. But I don't think a lot of people realize to go into this industry how much you need to sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly.
And like especially because fans are so overprotective of their faves. Like if you were to come out and say this person cultural appropriated, they only care about defending their artist, and they won't ask for their artist to own up to what they did, like apologize or learn from their mistakes. And even when they do come out and say, oh, well, I recognize what I did was wrong, many of the time they do it again.
I hate that. Like there's this one artist that I used to stan, well, this one member of a K-pop group I used to stan. I won't say who because I don't think we're allowed to name drop on here, but he said something that is unforgivable and is honestly disgusting, and it really showed him as like a person that I didn't think that he was. And I think like that kind of moment for me just made me realize that I shouldn't be blindly putting my trust into these people that I have no idea who they actually are behind the scenes,
Right. Like I think a lot of people don't realize that it's really fake. Like like when they go on reality shows and these like different shows, they're like acting basically. It's like, how do I earn the approval of more people to have more fans, and they're like, they want to conform to the ways that society deems is like correct and stuff. And that might not actually be how they act in a private setting.
Exactly. Like, I mean, okay, I'll ask you this. You got accepted to be like in a girl group kind of, or like to be a trainee, right? Like back in the day.
It wasn't even that. It was like a year ago, was it?
Yeah. Like, did these like thoughts ever come into your mind when you got accepted, like to be a trainee? You were like, oh, am I willing to like sacrifice all of this? Am I willing to go into like this toxic industry?
Okay, so at that time, I was I think, a completely different person from who I am now. I was extremely uneducated in just worldly things. I was very naive, and I sort of like, I'll just say back then I was huge army. I still am a huge army, but I think it's like come down. Like back then I completely idolized like this boy group. And like when I got the acceptance email, it was sort of like everything, all sorts of like rational thought just shut out. And like the only thought I was thinking like is like, oh my gosh, I can go and do something that I really love. And like I see like how this boy band achieved such great fame, such great success, and like how they seem to be very happy, and maybe they are, but we don't know if that's acting or not. So at that time I was just very excited. I went to my dad, I told him, I'm like, hey, can you take me to this audition? This like, I don't know what it was called. I think it was a secondary audition, but can you take me to this audition in New York? And he was like, number one, that's way too far from where we live. Like, that's all the way in America. Also, he was like, I don't want you to put yourself into this sort of situation. Like, at that time, I was very upset with my father. Like, I thought he didn't understand me. Like, what would he know? Like he's like a not a boomer yet, is he? Like, he's old, he doesn't understand, you know, he doesn't get it, right? I was very upset, but then like I'm so thankful my dad held me back that day, because now I look back and I'm like, I don't think I could have done it.
Well, I think you could have done it, but I just
don't think I would have been able to do it happily.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Absolutely. And I think when you were having that whole, oh my God, I'm so obsessed with this boy group kind of thing, so was I. I was also into the same boy group that you were and everything. That was before I was in multi at that too. So like I would only like one group. And I think I was just kind of blinded by like everything. Like, don't get me wrong, K-pop is great. Like it's such a, it's a cool, like stress reliever. Like it's an escape from the world. And like, there's some really good music out there. And like the people, like they, for the most part, they all seem really nice and things like that. But there's also like the negative sides. And I think like as I grow older, I'm realizing those negative sides, and I'm realizing like, okay, it's my time to like fade out of this. And then
like, I think that's just the process of growing out of our naivety. Everything on the outside is just like shimmers and like bubbles and bling and everything. But like, you really don't know what these people like have done. Like there's so many things that have like come out recently talking about how these artists have been treated horribly, even some to like physical like assault almost, like managers assaulting or like harassing, or like just so many like horrible things you see. People think, oh, it's like it's worth it, you know, in the end you're like famous, you're rich, you get to pursue your dream. But they don't see all the trainees who have quit because it was just so overbearing.
Exactly. And like, even if you want to only support like the group, in a sense that's not possible, because these groups are all like, well, for the most part they're all under like companies and things like that. So even if you want to support the group, you're supporting like this terrible industry that's treating all these groups terribly, you know?
Yeah, like the thing, like maybe the artist is here to pursue their passion of music, but the company is not thinking the same thing. They're pursuing money.
Exactly.
So there really is just a lot that you have to think of before getting into that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That can be another.
How do we go from like hobbies and interests to like talking about like the dark side of K-pop?
No idea, but that should be an episode. We should go more into that later.
Yeah, I love that. But anyways, I'm also a very boring person. I don't do anything. I don't leave my house. Like I did leave my house before COVID. Like,
I didn't.
Occasionally, like we would be like, "Yo, want to go to the mall?" or like whatever. But other than that, I really didn't do anything. Now, I guess like a hobby would be like dancing. I guess like that's literally all.
Amy is such a good dancer. We should post like one of her covers on our Instagram or something.
Do not overhype me, okay?
No, like, you got accepted to be a trainee. Like she has mad dancing skills. Like we should, like it's insane. But you know, you should definitely check her out.
Where? There's nothing to check out. True.
You have like your covers, you have that cover, all of that.
Yeah, those will never go public.
No, they will. One day, if we get like five listeners, we'll do it.
5?
5. Yes, the bar is there.
Is the bar so low for me?
The bar. No, not for you. For our podcast.
All right. Anyways, I mean, like, we're not even doing this podcast for like listens. At this point, we're just bored. Like,
yeah,
we're so freaking bored.
It's an opportunity to talk and like
have fun.
It's everything. Yeah. Anyways,
next question. What is something that makes you really angry?
A lot of things. I have like anger management issues. I hate just the fact that people defend men at all costs, and they're just like, oh, not all men. Oh, he didn't really think like that. No.
Like, I just like one of the things, like, now that we're on this topic, like, one of the things that really annoy me when this sort of talk comes up is like victim blaming.
Yeah.
Or, like, making excuses for like the perpetrator. Like, oh, he was drunk. He didn't know what he's doing. I'm like, well, he chose to be drunk. That was his choice. Like, that's not an excuse. And like, they're like victim blaming. They're like, oh, like, she shouldn't have worn like, you know, like that sort of top. Her shorts shouldn't have been that short. Like
that's
why
not right.
That women have to watch what they wear to not get attacked. Like, is that not like a basic human right to not be attacked? Just
exactly. And no matter what, like, men will have like this idea in their mind, like, no matter what a girl's wearing, they'll still attack them. Like, there's still men that'll do that, like, no matter what they're wearing. Like, it's not
like, that's
not just because she like dressed like in a short skirt or something. No, it's because that man was a predator and wanted to harass her and rape her or whatever.
Yeah, like, something like people think they I think there's like a misconception that only like promiscuous like women are assaulted or like raped. Like, there are like children who are like 9 years old who have gone through these kind of things. So like, it's always like they try to defend the perpetrator, and I like, that makes me so pissed off. Like,
yeah, just things like this, and then like social injustice and all the wrong things in this world are just like, they're enough to get someone angry. But I think channeling that anger into doing something about it is a good thing. Like, I see that like so many of these girls are being silenced and everything, but like, people channel that anger and then they put it into like the Me Too movement or things like that. Or another example is like with what's happening with Palestine right now, how they're being oppressed by Israel. It's infuriating seeing what's happening, how the Western media is like, oh, it's a conflict. No, the fuck it's not. There's a clear oppressor and there's a clear someone being like oppressed and things like that. But people are getting so angry, and instead of channeling that anger like and like calling out Israel on their bullshit, which they are doing, which I think is fantastic how they're calling out Israel on their bullshit, they're also helping Palestine in the process because of all of their anger, because they see like what's happening in life, like social injustice and just like human rights. The fact that those are being like broken, the fact that social injustice is being a thing and human rights are being broken is enough to get anyone angry.
I feel like just off of that, I feel like another thing that makes me really angry is like hypocritical people.
Oh, like, yeah.
When on the outside, they're like, oh, I stand for this, but then they go turn around and they don't do what they preach. I'm just going to call out my parents for this. Like, they claim to be I guess they are Christians, and they're very deep in their faith. Especially my mother, she has like a very good connection with like God and stuff. There is like a verse in the Bible that says like, what is the greatest commandment to keep? And Jesus was like, love everybody equally. And that's like the biggest thing for me. That's like what I want to live by. But then like, they turn around. Like, they're always telling me, oh, Amy, like, be accepting to others because like that's what Jesus would have done. And I'm like, okay, yeah, that's great. But then they turn around, and when I bring things up, they don't show people love that they are supposed to be showing, you know? Like, they're like, oh, like the one with Palestine, right? I had a talk with my dad about it, and he was like talking about like, you know, Palestine, Gaza, the history, but like they have, and then he was like, yeah, like what Israel is doing is definitely wrong. But then he said something later. He was like, well, is like the Palestine people who live there are also not great people, so like they had it coming.
What?
They had it coming. Like they had
fuck?
a war coming. Like they deserved it. And like that just made me so angry. I was like, you claim to be somebody who stands for love, stands for, you know, like equality for everybody, but then you turn around and say this kind of stuff.
Yeah, nothing justifies war crimes. What the fuck? How can you wish a war on people?
Yeah, I'm like, how can you say someone deserves that? Nobody deserves that. And like turning it around on him, he keeps saying, oh, they deserved it. They had it coming.
No, the
like
fuck they don't.
In our religion, he should know by now that we did not deserve anything at all. Like we didn't deserve to be loved by God, or like we didn't deserve to have like for him to die for us, but he did it anyway. So you are not entitled whatsoever to talk about who deserves what.
Exactly. Carrying on with like Christianity. Like I'm not Christian, disclaimer. So you can like correct me if I'm wrong. But like if your parents knew that like I was part of the LGBTQ community versus if they found out that if you were as well, like I know you're not, but like if you were, like your parents, do you think genuinely that they would love you the same, even though like it's told in your Bible that you're supposed to love everyone equally?
Yeah, so that's really difficult for me to tell because I really can't like know how they would react, but like they, based on what I've seen from them, whenever topics like LGBTQ plus like rights and stuff come up, they don't seem very accepting. For one, he very much believes in men are men, women are women. How you are born, that is how God created you. That's how you should say. That's very much how he thinks. So answering your question, I feel like he would still love me as his child, but there would be a different sort of thinking he has about me. Like I can't say that for sure, but that's just my feeling, I guess. They would still love me as a child, but I think they would try and push that sort of identity away. They would try and suppress it. They would for sure try and hide it from our congregation. Like they would not tell my church or anybody that
what the fuck
I like felt this way. So yeah, like
yeah, no.
So that's also pisses me off too, because we're taught in the Bible to love every single person equally, because like they see this as a sin. But the thing is, everybody is a sinner. Like would you, like, if somebody lied to you, you wouldn't be like, oh, you fucking like horrible person, like go away. Like they would be like, oh, it was a mistake, she'll learn from it. Like that. Yeah, just to answer your question, they would think differently of me.
Yeah, that makes me infuriated.
I really hate it when people don't do as they preach. What sort of person are you like at school? Like, I mean, do you like to like associate with new people, or do you tend to stay in your own like friends group, or like what are you like in a classroom setting?
Yeah, I think like with my friends, I'm very much like really loud. I'm kind of like the life of the party, but recently our friend group has actually fallen apart because of COVID and everything like that. Like I'm just gonna call it out like right now. So I'm not sure what type of person I would be at school, like if in-person school were to come back. But before, I was really like, I'm super open with my friends versus like in-person in classes. I'm very quiet, I only like associate with people that I know really well. I get my shit done and then I move on. Like I'm just kind of that person.
Like I feel like for me in our friend group, I feel like I'm not too different from what I'm like in a classroom. Like I think I'm more friendly in a way when I'm with friends or people I want to associate with. Like if it's in a classroom that there are certain people I don't really want to be acquainted with, I'm kind of like brooding in the corner.
Brooding?
like I'm just like sitting there and I'm kind of just like glaring at everybody.
Oh yeah.
Like kind of unapproachable in a way. And like, when we need to do group work, I kind of just get straight to work and we don't really like talk about anything else. Like, you know, like in my math class, I sat with some specific people I don't really want to personally associate with. And like we had to do a group question. I kind of just jumped in and I was like, what'd you get? And he's like, I got this. And I'm like, how'd you get that? He's like, I did this. I'm like, okay.
You're like straightforward.
Yeah, it's sort of like we get the work done, no more talking. But like outside of the classroom, I think I'm like, I mean, I would consider myself, I don't know. I was called friendly recently. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've never been described like that before. Like,
yeah, no, I think like compared to when I first met you, because I first met you in the, like for listeners, the first time that I met Amy was in high school, like technically when we met for the first time. We had known each other online before then. And I thought that like she was really like, I thought we were friends at the time, but apparently Amy thought differently. And so
no. The narrative here.
Let me finish. Okay. So I could really see like the difference, like Amy online, like with her friends versus in person. Because in that class, in that like singing class, I think it was one of her brooding moments where she was just like, I don't want to be associated with any of you. And so she was just kind of like dead the entire time.
Oh yeah.
So I can really see like the difference between Amy in person and like in person in class versus like with her friends. But I'm the complete opposite. I think I'm the same everywhere that I go, apart from when I'm with my friends, if that makes sense.
Like, I think generally, I don't know, like recently, I'm not going to talk about before, because before I was like dead. Like if you looked at me, you would probably like think I was some like stoner or something.
Oh my god.
It was on the brink of that. But like I think I've changed a lot since then. I think I feel like when you don't know me, especially because of the way I dress, people think I'm some like mature, sort of unapproachable, like intimidating person. Like especially like, I don't know if you've noticed, but like when I don't think you have. No. When I'm not with you, if you were to see me walking on the street, there's like, my mom says there's a way I walk that just like makes me seem like intimidating.
What?
I don't know what it is, but she's like, yeah, you seem really unapproachable. Like, I was preparing for that job interview, right? And I threw on like my most formal clothes, and she's like, do not go like that. You look like you're about to like go fight somebody and like something.
Oh my god.
And like she's like, you know, you look terrifying. Please like tone down like your eyeliner, or like
what?
Tone down that like formality, because I was wearing all black.
No, but like if you look like a boss bitch, that's who you are. As long
not
as
when I'm interviewing for some entry-level job.
No, but if you're going to like if you're going to an interview for, you're gonna want to look like a boss bitch. You know?
You're gonna want to look like a freaking like, you want to strut. But I was going to freaking like you know where I was going. So
yeah, you were going to like a quiet little like small business kind of interview.
No, like the other one.
Oh yeah.
So definitely don't think dress code for that, but I don't know. All right. I think this leads us into the next question pretty well. What are some misconceptions people probably have about you?
That I'm straight.
Okay, just as a disclaimer, this is like an inside joke we have. Like, we're not trying to make fun of each other in any way. It's just like a thing we have.
Yeah. I think like people perceive, because the way that I used to dress, the way that like people have probably seen me at school, I act like the streetest person in the world.
Oh my God.
But I am so glad I saw the light. I am fine. I am healthy. I am gay. But I don't know. Like, I know that that's not what you were meaning by this question, but yeah, that's a misconception. But also like the fact that I'm dumb and that I'm like the class clown in this, not a class clown, but like the class clown in your friend group kind of thing.
Yeah, like you're not dumb. Like you're like so freaking smart. Like if I first saw you, like I would totally be okay with you. Like I have this thing where I determine if I want to associate with someone or not, because generally in our school, like I kind of know who's who and like what they're like. So if I saw you for the first time at our school, I'd be like, yeah, I'd be totally fine with getting to know you.
I'm honestly so glad that would be like your first impression of me, because
that is actually saying a lot, because I don't like a lot of people.
Exactly. I was gonna say, you really don't like a lot of people. And I think those misconceptions of like myself just still stick around, I think, if I'm being honest. Like even in our friend group, I think, or in our formal I really don't know how to address it. It's weird. This can be another episode again. I think in our former friend group, I used to be like known as the really dumb one who was just a joker kind of in the sense, but that's not who I really am. And that misconceptions still stick no matter what. But I'm glad that you think that I'm not like that. But anyways, what about you? What are some misconceptions about you?
That I'm this dark girl who wants to go around murdering people and I'm like a fucking psycho.
I think you really gave off that vibe in grade 9.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, like I feel like a misconception a lot of people have is I'm violent, which I am not. I have like never hit somebody in my life. Like, okay, that's a lie. But... I have hit people. not like full on. I've never punched anybody actually.
You don't seem like the type of person to, well, I know you, of course, now. But like back then, maybe I could like understand that misconception. But nowadays, definitely not. Nowadays, I think if anything, I'm more violent than you sometimes, which says a lot because I'm not violent at all either. Like you're just like you're friendly, like that random person that was talking to you was like said, you're a really friendly person and you're nowhere near violent or like aggressive.
Yeah, like I might sound aggressive when I talk. Like when I talk, maybe I like swear or like, you know,
but like, that's not aggressive. I think that's more of your passion showing.
Swearing is passion.
Well, no, but like if you're really passionate about something, you're gonna like speak as much as you can on it, you know?
Yeah, like I feel like people have this image that like if someone were to come up against me, the first instinct I have would like to like punch them and shut them down physically. Like no, if someone came up to me and tried to challenge me, it depends. Like the first thing I would do is probably ignore them and walk away. And like
that's good.
People think I like to incite fights. I'm like the complete opposite. I don't want to fight anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think another misconception is like I'm like dry. Like I am sort of dry. I have dry humor. But like I think they think I'm just very mature and like very like uptight in a way. Like I don't like to have fun. I don't like to like do like fun things. Like I just like stay in my room all day and like do work. Like that's not true at all with me. Like I love to go out. Like after this COVID pandemic, like you best be saving your money because we're honestly. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, there's a dude who lives on my street who has like a motorcycle. He's loud as fuck. But
ooh, look at that. I want a motorcycle.
Dude, he's like 60.
Oh, anyways. No, but like for you, I honestly never knew that you were the type of person to actually go out and hang out because in grade 9 and grade 10 in our friend group, I didn't really know you all that well.
Oh,
I'm
no,
being
honest.
Oh, nice. Go motorcycle boy, go.
Anyway, what were you saying?
In grade 9 and grade 10, I didn't really know you that well. And so, but I was like in grade 9 and grade 10, I was really the type of person who wanted to hang out a lot. I mean, I still do, but it's not as much as I used to. Like my social battery is a little bit like worn out now, but I still love hanging out. Anyways, grade 9 and grade 10, I didn't know you that well, but I knew the other friends in our friend group, but they hated hanging out with me anyways. Like with other people, I don't know, but with me, they did not hanging out with me. But if I had known that you actually liked hanging out and you liked doing those hangouts things, I definitely feel like I would have hung out with you more. And I think I did realize that in like semester 2 of grade 10 when we actually started like hanging out together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, I feel like I used to be a person who was thought of as like, I don't want to talk to anybody. Like, I'm just here because I'm here. But like, I feel like that might have been like, have some truth to it back then. But like now it's definitely a huge lie. Like, I personally like to actually go out with like one person at a time. Before we would do like group activities with our friends, and I just don't feel like we connected as well. Like we were sort of like almost a little fake around each other because like I guess we sort of labeled each other what we thought each person would be, and like I guess each of us thought we had to live up to that.
Yeah, and I thank God that we didn't have like an odd number group or anything like that, because if we hadn't since we had an even group, I feel like we all kind of were hanging out one-on-one, but as a group. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like I feel like especially later when COVID hit and we had that like outing together at like my old school,
Mm-hmm.
like it was very much two people were only talking to each other, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I appreciated that more because we got to like actually hang out more instead of just having to cater for the entire group, you know?
And I feel like that's something we really just should have stopped earlier. Like, I feel like we always put way too much effort into an activity for people not to be enthusiastic about it and not show.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, and like I feel like once we had that like not recent anymore, but like the last time we hung out like in person,
Mm-hmm.
that picnic we had, I feel like that was like a really great hangout because like
Mm-hmm.
it was a beautiful day. We had like fun and
Mm-hmm. It was genuinely entertaining, and we had like a whole like I was doing like a little vlog thing as well.
and I feel like we got to connect on like a deeper level than we would have with a friend group because I feel like we were able to be a little bit more vulnerable than with like a big group. So
Exactly. Yeah. And I think that's something that everyone needs.
yeah.
You know? Just that one-on-one connection with like every or any friend that you want to stay close to. I think that's important.
Yay, we did it! First podcast, let's go!
Woohoo! What a wrap up, man. Oh my god. Do you have any like final words to say about what we discussed today?
We suck at sticking to one topic. Let me just say that right. We talk way too much about things not relevant to this topic, but
exactly. But I think it's cool because I think this episode was kind of a bigger trailer on like the different topics that we'll be able to talk about later on.
Yeah, I think it also podcast like was a way for us to discover what topics we would be like to talk about.
Exactly. This is a very interesting episode, and if you are still sticking around by the time this is over, I applaud you. Thank you for listening. So just to wrap up this podcast, don't forget to follow us on like whatever streaming platform you're using to listen to this, so whether that be Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or even Spotify. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram too to see all the behind the scenes and get updates of our terrible lives at VT Podcast with an S. Amy, do you have any final words? Final words. Oh my god.
Thanks for listening. We will see you guys next week.
Bye. Yeah. Soon. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.